Hello everyone, my name is Sahil and welcome to another episode of Synth Saturdays. Today we are going to mix some VST drums and see how processing them or mixing them into a song differs from normal drums. I'll share you my thought on how I go about these, and maybe if I have time left then I'll also try blending the bass guitar with the drums. But for starters, let's quickly go through. So I have the main thing that will affect my judgment on mixing my drums will be the mix bus compressor. Because this is the main thing, probably the kick and the snare that's triggering the mix bus compressor. Obviously a lot of other things as well, since it's the mix bus compressor, so a lot of things coming in, but it's mainly the transients of the kick and the snare that might be triggering the mix bus compressor, so that affects how I process the drums. Then after that, I have an 1176 on this. This is an emulation by Slate Digital. It's about a dB or two of compression, not too much, but it sounds nice. So let's hear it with and without. This is without. And now with. This helps me to glue the entire drum kit together a little better, and then I can mix the subsequent tracks a little easy. So this is the kit that I use normally, and this is the same kit that is being used right now in the song as well. So this is from GGD, Get Good Drums, company by Nolly and Misha Mansoor and other periphery guys. So this and most good VST drum libraries sound good out of the box. So even if I hear what I have with me, so there's obviously some processing going on the drums, but even without all of that, the drum kit itself, the sound is very nice. So my concern would be to not change the sound too much. Usually if I have a normal drum kit, then I have to tweak the sound a lot to brighten up the drums, to maybe to make them sound tight and to make them belong in a mix, or especially like a modern production like mine where I need a certain polished sound. So I probably won't change the sound too much because they already sound good or pretty decent out of the box. I'll just double check the balance in the drums and maybe start with some EQ on the drum bus and then tweak the individual tracks a little bit. Let's check the balance of the drums before that. So I definitely do need some high end on the drum kit overall. Some high mids as well, like the 4, 5K, 6K region, and I need probably some body as well. So let's try and see if I can do something with just some EQ on the drum bus. This is changing the sound of the overheads as well. I don't think I want to change the overheads. So let's process individually kick and snare. Okay, very nice. Adds a bit of presence to the kick. Let's try an 1176 as well. fine without the compressor. Let's try some saturation, SSL. Okay, I like it. So now the snare. And so my thinking with this is that, again, I heard a reference in between, and the main thing that popped up to me was some brightness and some clickiness on the kick. So that's why I added decent amount of the high end, like the 456K, 6K, and I have added some low end. So this is my usual thing, is that the fundamental is around 60-70 on a kick. So that's where I try and boost the kick by a few dB. Now, if that is too much or not, that might be the case, and this might also be feeding more into the compressor. Doesn't look like there's too much of difference, but that is my thinking with the kick. So brighten it up, and then saturation is mostly for rounding out the kick and maybe making it feel more fuller, but it's a matter of taste. So now a similar thing with snare. Again, the kick and snare mainly were more brighter and more punchier. Similar processing on the snare. But slightly lower. I think I could also use some less mids in the snare. Yeah, so this range. I think so. I'll jump a little bit. I think that's more in the room. So before changing the snare, I will change the room track. So again, I need some mids removed to make the mix a little bit cleaner. Let's try the Neve. Yeah. Maybe add some body. And maybe compress the rooms a little bit more. Okay, do I need some little less mids in the kick as well? Sure. Yep. Add some bite. Let's check this with the mix first. I have a feeling that the saturator is taking up the transient of the kick a little bit. So no worries, we can always remove a plugin. And then there's some frequency in the overheads that is irritating me a little bit. Maybe some mid-range in the snare as well. Right, so in this drum kit that I have, most of the snare tone is coming from the room. So I was trying to boost the high mid range in the snare, but I wasn't getting too much of a difference. I felt then that the change in the room track might do the trick. So I think to me, boosting 3.2K on the room is helping to get the snare out a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah, this sounds good. Let's see if we have toms at any point. I don't think I've programmed toms. I haven't. So we can, might as well delete this. Again, like I said, I don't want to change the sound of the drums too much. These are fine on their own. My main goal is to make some space in the mix for other things and remove unnecessary frequency from the drums, which is usually the mid-range, the 400 to 700, 800 range. And other than that, just make the drums pop out more, which usually is EQ. And some compression in some cases. I usually don't compress too much because these VST samples that have been programmed already have compression baked into them, so you don't have to do too much. Decrease the high end on the overheads. Yeah, don't need that. Yeah. A little bit on the kick as well. Yep. Yes, that sounds nice. Maybe a saturator on the entire drum bus. Sure, okay, let's listen to this with the mix. Maybe the snare can use some compression. Yep. Okay, this sounds fine to me. There's a good amount of punch, pushes through the mix. It sounds a little different from the mix because I haven't done any processing on the other of the stuff, but that will be fixed with time. Let's try and see if I can A-B what I've done before and after. So this is without any processing. With the mix. And then with the processing. With the mix. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed watching me mix drums. And if you did, leave a like, comment anything that you found interesting, or if I did something else than what you would have did, or if you want to ask something, any question, leave a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel if you want more of these videos. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.